I'm going to review Do Not Disturb by Freida McFadden. This is my first Freida book in a while, and if you've watched my other videos, then you would know that I've read a lot of her books, the majority of her books. Um, and this one was actually very good in my opinion. But I did read a good few reviews saying they didn't like the writing, that they didn't like the writing style, and they didn't find it as good as some of her other ones, like The Housemaid and all. But yeah, I actually really like this because I thought the writing in it was actually good compared to some of the other ones. And I liked it because it reminded me a lot of Psycho and like Alfred Hitchcock movies, like what do you call it? Rear Window as well. I was going to say Vertigo, but no, Rear Window. Um, and Psycho, it reminded me a lot of, because there's a character in this reminds me of a lot of Norman Bates from Psycho, and it's similar kind of setting as well, because it's a it's similar circumstance and setting. So it's a woman, and she's like, so she's committed a crime, and then she's went on the run sort of thing, and then she ends up at a motel that sort of reminds you of the Bates Motel. um, and yeah, and then she suspects maybe so there's this girl who disappeared, who was a guest at the hotel, and she suspects at first maybe the guy did it, the guy who is very similar to Norman Bates in Psycho. But that would be too obvious when so yeah, there's a lot of other elements too. Well, there's a couple more. There's a guest that stays permanently in one room in the hotel, and she's like a gypsy, fortune teller type person. So, she is sort of able to forecast people's futures, and this woman who committed the crime and the main character in the book, um, asked to get her fortune told, and then it's revealed there. But then, about halfway through this, very similar to Psycho as well, it shifts character perspective to another character. And it's actually the guy who owns the motel, who is like Norman Bates, has uh, a wife in this. His wife is actually the one to sit like near the window and look out and spy on some of the guests and stuff like that. So um it's not him and his mother like the movie, so it's not altogether the same, So, but yeah, I just really liked it because it had very similar vibes to Psycho and Alfred Hitchcock, and obviously the with the wife having the binoculars, she looks out the window. That would remind you very much of Rear Window as well. Um, so yeah, I really liked it because it reminded me of um those movies and like Alfred Hitchcock style stories, So um yeah, I'd actually rank this very high in my Freida McFadden ranking, of all her books, because um I would probably have, out of all the ones that I've read, the only one that I haven't read is the Tenant, which I actually bought, which is her new one out. So I'm gonna read that one next and do a review on it after this, and then Ward D is another one, and then there's a whole lot of other ones that I didn't think were actual novels. I thought they were just like novellas, short stories, that kind of thing. But I've now found out that they're actually full length novels. So I might go and read a couple of them. I don't know. Um, but yeah, just very good if you're into Alfred Hitchcock style stories, and um, yeah, if you like Psycho, the movie. Um, Reminds you a lot of that. Some people say that it's like a obvious rip off of that, and it is to an extent, but it does enough to subvert your expectations of what's going to happen in the book. So like, it's not going to be how you think it's going to play out exactly. So yeah, I was very entertained by the book. Even if some people didn't think the writing was good, I still thought the story was enough to um, gloss over it, because I didn't even realize if the writing is that bad, because I didn't find anything wrong with it, but some people said, they didn't like it, so um, yeah, I think the story would make up for it anyway, because if you're into that kind of thing, psychological thrillers, Alfred Hitchcock, Psycho, all that. So yeah, so and then this Do Not Disturb title comes from just the thing that people put outside their hotel rooms so as not to be disturbed in the middle of the night or whatever, or the cleaners come to the room, whatever. Um, so yeah, so I did. This is like in my, it's like at least in my top um three or four of her books anyway. The Housemaid is high up there, and then Never Lies high up there. The Inmate is high up there. Um, the Boyfriend, I've sort of, it has went down in my opinion since I've read it. And then trying to think what other ones there is. The Perfect Son is still a good one. Still a good like underrated one, because I don't think that's talked about as much as like the Housemaid and Never Lie and the Inmate and them ones. One by One is not in my top ranking. It's like further down, and then I feel like I'm missing one. Well, the Housemaid's Secret as well I read, and that one wasn't as good as the first Housemaid. And then I didn't read the Housemaid is Watching, or the Housemaid's Wedding. Um, I'm trying to think of whether I've left one out or not, but I think the Co-Worker is down at the bottom of my ranking. Like, it's not nowhere near as good as some of these other ones. So I think this one is underrated, underrated for Freida McFadden, because it's not talked about as much. It's not talked about enough because of um, of all the vibes that you get from this book. I would have thought that psychological thriller readers would have had this one higher up in the rankings and stuff. So yeah, I hope some more people realize that this book is worth reading and it's worth having at the near the top of their rankings of her books. So yeah, I definitely had a good time with this. I actually read this in only about 7 hours one day, just so um and that was last night. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. Um especially if you like Freida McFadden and you just want a good psychological thriller. If you know her storytelling, then you will be adjusted by now, and um, so definitely, yeah, recommend this.